Welcome to Endless Summit Podcast,
What's up, guys?
where the summits are endless and the podcasts are
Summiting
podcasting. Yeah, and the
podcast.
podcasts are
Summit.
endless.
Yeah. The summits are endless. No. Yeah, maybe.
All the above.
How was your week?
It was good. It was an ass kicker. He volunteered to take on like more calls this week, and dude, like just brutal. Every day from 8 to 5. The one small break for lunch, but on the phone constantly trying to help people out with set up their phones and troubleshoot a lot of different things. It was a lot of learning, which was nice, but dealing with people and their patience. I was just trying to keep people patient this week. Thankfully, everybody was. I felt bad. I was the one that just felt like an idiot. I'm like, I know what I'm doing, I promise, but it's just like I'm still trying to figure out these issues like with the phones or whatever. So it was really, really busy and went by fast, which was nice. And yeah, just spent a lot of time thinking about what we're going to talk about today, and it wasn't too bad. I don't know. That's pretty much it. Like when it's nice when the weeks are uneventful.
Right.
Like it just seems like it's boring, but it's not at the same time. So no, that's pretty much it. How about yours? How's your week?
It was good, man. It was busy.
Yeah.
Being back officially. I mean, like we were back last week from the holidays, right?
Mhm.
But we were working from home, and I think more people were like out, so it wasn't as busy. So this week, like being officially back in it was just like, whoa. But it was good, man. Took my kids to their first jazz game yesterday.
Oh, how was that?
It was good, dude. Even
I
not
remember seeing the pictures last
completely
night. Yeah.
destroyed
Who'd they play?
Charlotte, but none of our starters except for Keontae George played. Yeah, they were hurt or whatever.
Oh,
And
that's too bad.
yeah, so
How'd the girls like it?
they loved it, man. Briley had such an attitude when we started losing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she was like, those Charlotte Hornet guys aren't nice, blah, 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 blah. And,
Yeah.
and then Nikki, she was just locked in, dude. She was screaming like, Chief. And all that, dude. Like it was really cool to see because like I wanted them to have like the experience, right? And so we went in, like we didn't tell them all week. We went to the break right across the street. And like right before we got to the break, we were sitting outside and they're like, Dad, what are we doing? And so I'm like, yo, you see that big building right there? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, that's where the Utah Jazz play. She's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, we're just gonna go over there and watch a game. No, you're lying, Dad. Are we really? Yeah. B was just like, cool. Nikki was like, nah. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, thank you so much. And
Oh, that's nice.
so then we ate dinner, we went over there. It being their first game, I took them into the team shop and I was like, hey, which player's jersey do you want? Like, you guys each get a jersey for your very first game. Who do you want? And
Yeah, that's cool.
so we went through and they got jerseys and I wasn't going to get one. But then Nikki was like, Dad, come on, get a jersey so you can match us tonight. And so I got a Walter Clayton jersey. And
Nice.
and then we leave there and like we're just walking around so they can see, and we go up into this one area to like watch the players practicing and warming up. And like they have like this little puck making station. So they go and do that. And then it was really cool because the Jazz Bear and Tusky like came right outside of it and did pictures. So I went out and got in line. And then they came and got in line, took pictures, and then the jazz dancers were right there, so they got pictures with the jazz dancers, and then we went up to our seats, and yeah, it was cool, dude. And like, it was the big shout out. I don't know about other stadiums, but the big shout out I will give to the Utah Jazz, man, is like Briley has sensitive ears, and so she got overwhelmed, and I think she was partially tired. But she got overwhelmed. She was really struggling. And I'm like, hey, babe, like they have a sensory room up here. Like, just take her to the sensory room. She was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So they went and it like helped my daughter chill out and whatnot. And then she was able to come back out and enjoy it. So that was
that's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool that they had that. But yeah, man, outside of that, nothing too much. It was rough, man. My Ducks lost and it was like a whooping. And then dude. It was bad. Earlier this week, I watched this movie. It is not appropriate for children in any kind of way or form. And I had to like get on chat and like try to understand this movie. And I could understand it a little bit, but like I guess the purpose is like for you to not understand what's going on. It's weird. It's a Jordan Peele movie. You gotta watch him. It's about like this high school phenom quarterback who's getting ready, or he went to college, did well. He's the first overall pick, whatever he gets. And it's weird because he gets, I'm not going to give too much away, but the GOAT of professional football is like training him. And throughout this, there's just like messages, and like you have to be able to pay attention and read deep into it, but it's on a weird level. Like it's a Jordan Peele movie, dude. And it was really good, but I was sitting there like during the movie, I'm just like, what is this supposed to mean from this movie?
Oh yeah, interesting.
Dude, it's out there.
So I just read the synopsis of it to try to understand like what kind of movie it is too. And it's just supposed to be like a psychological thriller, but like a sports psychological thriller, which is different because they don't make sports. I can't think of a sports psychological thriller, to be honest.
Dude, I've never seen a movie like this.
Right. Yeah. Usually sports movies are just supposed to be inspirational or they're based off of true stories, you know?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
So
check it out.
You might have to check it out and let me know what you think.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jordan Peele has come out with a lot of interesting movies. Like,
yes.
I'm trying to remember the one that everybody talked about for a while. Yep. Get Out. Us
was different. And then so was that one about the alien ship. Oh,
nope. There's one that's called
Yep. Dude, he's good. Like he's a genius, but they are so different than
his comedy. That's what it's so ironic about. And he uses like funny actors in his movies too, I think. They seem more innocent than the movie portrays, I guess. I don't know. But that's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to watch that one. And I just actually today started Mission Impossible. Was it Reckoning? Like the last one? Yeah. I'm like a half an hour into that one right now. So
I need to watch those. I started rewatching Ted Lasso.
There you go. Ted Lasso is always great. Like once a year, Ted Lasso is great. You know, you gotta always have that refresher.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't realize that Mission Impossible has been out for 30 years. It started in 96. I was like, holy crap. And so I started looking up all the actors and their ages. I was like, okay, so Tom Cruise is 33 when he started the franchise. And I always think I'm gonna start talking about life now because whenever I like look at movies and how old they are, and I look at the actors and how old they were when the movie came out, it's like, for instance, Tom Cruise being 33 when this came out, the first one. I'm like, okay, I'm 32, and I start comparing myself to like what they were doing in their 30s to what I'm doing in my 30s, and I'm doing the same thing with like other people, like on social media. I went down that rabbit hole in my mind of like, I guess yeah, we can talk. I should have brought this up too, but I went down the rabbit hole of like comparing myself to other people and where they're at in life, right? And it's like the worst thing you could do. I do this, I don't know how often. I used to do it way more often than like this week, but you just wonder, okay, it's like, what's next? Where am I going? And then what do I want? You know, we start asking all these questions and trying to figure out like what the best answer is to all of them. But it's fascinating to me, like seeing actors or athletes when they were in their, like, I wouldn't say prime, but when they just really got going, and like, yeah, comparing myself to them and wondering, okay, like, yeah, what's next for me, I guess, and trying to figure out that route. But in a deeper sense is like the choices that I've made throughout the years have led me to where I'm at now. So I know that I just got to make different choices to be at a different place, you know, say 30 years from now, which hopefully not in the next 30 years, I won't be in the same place, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it, dude. Cause I did it on like Saturday. Just my buddy, he moved back to New York City. He's opening a gym with his brother. And it was just like, I was envious of it, man. Like, I was just like, man, and I'm not at his level by any means as a trainer or anything like that. He's been doing it for 16, 20 years, something like that, 25 years. I don't think he's 10 years older than me, but he's maybe like 5 years older than me. And so it's like, he's done it for a long time, man. He's really good at what he does. And even though I'm not even a year in yet, I was like, I need to do that. You know what I mean? And I started thinking about like the gym that I wanted and like how I wanted the layout to be so that like it can be a gym to train in, but also where I can do like mentorship, right? And so I was just thinking about that and like just thinking about like some of these people that, you know, just either put in the work or, you know, because there's some part of luck with it, you know, where some people get lucky and everything just falls in place. And it's just like, damn, like I need something, man. Like, but then I had to like really think about it and be like, nah, like you're doing what you got to do. It's gonna take time. You know what I mean? Like I had to talk myself through it because it was just like
Yeah.
I was hoping and wishing, and and I think there's just for me, it's not so much as comparison, but I'll start to have doubts and I'll see other people doing stuff, and it's like, why am I not doing this well? Like my basketball team, right? Like, why aren't we scoring more points or something in basketball games? Like, what am I doing wrong, right? But it's like at the same time, trying to teach third and fourth grade girls like an offense, I can barely get them to learn the defense. So it's like, how do I teach them an offense in the same year if they can't learn this one? Like, obviously, I got to focus on one or the other so they can just hone that attention straight into there. And so I don't know. There's times where there's doubt and you compare because you're like, man, I want my girls to be as successful as those girls, right? But they like, and I know that we're not the same because like there's one team, she left our team and went to this other team, and like they practice multiple times a week for like 2.5 hours, like as a
Holy
team,
crap.
where like we practice twice a week for 1 hour as a team, and then they have like 3 other hours within the week where they do skills training. So it's good. Like their skills are better. Like, dude, Nikki this weekend, she would dribble into the middle of the defense and figure out how to dribble back out. I've never seen her dribble that well since we've started, and I was like, what?
Nice.
So like the skills part is really good, but it's like learning the game of basketball. Like, how do I play this defense correctly? How do I run this offense? Right.
Mhm.
So like, how do I space out? And so trying to teach them that, but at the same time, I got to give myself grace. Like I'm not here to coach just the best athletes, right? Like I'm here honestly to coach and make good human beings. Like that's my goal. If they end up being great at sports, fantastic. Like I want to help them be good human beings more than I want them to be the best athlete in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One's lasting and one maybe it is, maybe it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I get where you're coming from though. That was my little rant on your
All right, good.
topic.
You're okay. No, I'm glad you talked about it too. It's just, yeah, it's just one of those things that happens from time to time where you start looking at other people and seeing where they're at in life. And like, I guess I don't envy them. Like, there's no, like, I wish I had that. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, that's where I go. It's like, what am I doing wrong? And like, how do I level up? And I actually asked ChatGPT, I had read it to Allison too to get her like take on it. But I was like, all right, no bullshit. Chat said, if you're in my shoes, what would you do? Like, don't sugarcoat it. Don't just say, oh, don't worry about me or anything. I said, like, legitimately, like, what would you do? And it gave me a whole breakdown saying, okay, like based off of who you are, like what I know about you and what we've talked about in the past and also other stuff. It gave me like sound advice. It was really, really cool. Decent story to read of what it would do. Very realistic. And like that kind of reassured me afterwards of like, okay, cool. Like I can actually do these things. Like these are action items that I can attain too. So it's just, oh yeah, always questioning like what the heck's next for me. So
I think that's good though, man, because that's you
yeah,
focusing on your future and like, how can I really excel in my future to be the best version of me and to
right.
get to where I want to be. So the fact that you're always keeping that in the forefront, I think there can be a way that you do it negatively, right? But I think the way you're doing it is in a positive way. Like
Yeah,
we
I'm
all
trying to, yeah.
compare. We all
Mhm.
compare, dude.
Yeah,
It's like they say comparison's a thief of joy, which is
yeah,
true because then we're like, well, damn it, like I'm not here. But then at the same time, it gives us a chance to reflect
right.
and also be like, I'm just starting. Or
Yeah,
like I made these decisions. Like one thing that I'm coming to is like I've made these decisions in my life. And yes, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but at the same time, like I have to find some, like I have to be grateful for some of the things that I decided to go through because
yeah,
I wouldn't be who I am today without
yeah,
it, right?
yeah. And exactly. Like I am grateful for what I've gone through as well. And after reflecting on a lot of like what has happened in my life and then like where I want to go, it's like the matter of being prepared. Like how prepared can I be? So like, to kind of bring this back, if anybody's ever wondering, okay, what do you do in the situation trying to coach yourself? After you're reflecting, you got to coach yourself in a way of like, okay, well, as far as next steps. So like ChatGPT gave me steps, of course. Yeah, great. Like you can use those. But really what I was looking for was getting a general idea of capabilities, I guess. Like, where does it see capabilities in me that maybe I'm not seeing in myself? That's when I got that answer is when I started putting the steps together in my head of like, okay, I just need to be better prepared for the next time, which sounds obvious, right? Like if you're looking for a better future, better whatever, it's all in preparation. Once you're prepared for whatever you want, then when the opportunity comes, you'll be ready to go, seize the opportunity, so on and so forth.
Right.
So now, yeah, so that's after the comparison mind game went away and it started coming into play of like, okay, the preparation's the next step, and aligning myself with that next role. Or whatever whatever it is, really, like that goal is to, I have that monetary goal in mind, and that's what I'm trying to think about like constantly is, how do I get to this monetary goal? And that's where I'm like adjusting course to, okay, do I need to go back to school, which I that's a last resort for me right now, is like having to go back to school. But is there classes, like individual classes I could take that would benefit me and stuff like that, or books? But at the same time, like I feel like every book that I've read is all the same. It's all the same information, just regurgitated into different words, right? And so it's like you can't learn more than that. You just got to start applying it, or yeah, just figuring out like the right place to apply yourself, or to find the opportunity and the timing of it. So now it's going to be the preparation and patient game, just preparing as much as I can and then being patient for the time comes. Then hopefully this year opportunities will present themselves to move up and forward. Yeah, that's like the one thing where I couldn't beat myself up too much, because like the life I chose throughout my 20s up to now is what I wanted. Yeah, like I was talking to my buddy last night too. It's like we all make bad decisions. You're gonna make a bad decision, like whether you know it or not, and that's okay. It's good to have the ups and the downs of life. And my buddy's like, yeah, it makes it entertaining. Like, absolutely. That's why I chose to live the life I did. I do have some regrets, and it's okay to regret, but it made me better. Like those regrets are making me a better person, and I'm thankful for those moments. Like I definitely don't think of those moments as moments that I sleep on and just like ignore. Like I'm not trying to forget about them by any means. So yeah. Anyway, that was something that went on this week, and it was good. Like, it was positive. It was healthy enough. I didn't spiral. Like sometimes I spiral and lose control of those thoughts, but I think I've done a lot of growth this last year, like we were talking about before the year's over, and it's definitely, I'm feeling it now. And now, who knows, it might be the age too of like, at this point, you just stop caring as much about the negative stuff and you start just worrying about what you can control and how you feel about that. And that's what people try to coach you in from the very beginning. My dad at least was like that. He tried to coach me up as much as possible about just keep moving forward, So yeah. Anyway, let's dig into the topic at hand. Let's have the conversation and
I'm down, bro.
See where it goes. To forewarn people, so we're going to talk about toxic masculinity, but we're not going to like dig into toxic masculinity as like a way of how am I going to describe this? I'm not trying to abolish it. The mission of this conversation is not to like abolish or to slander it. Like the mission is to talk about it as sort of like a pet peeve of mine. It's a pet peeve to me of what toxic masculinity is. However, I recognize that it's sort of necessary in society so that you can recognize like bad behaviors to turn them into good behaviors. And it's never going to go away. Like it's not something that you can just try to turn off immediately or turn people around on. It takes time. And what I'm really hoping from this discussion is to help like point out toxic traits and then talk about them and see how people would think about them, like reflect on themselves and see if they have those toxic traits and kind of think deeper about, okay, maybe I can work on myself here or there. It's not, definitely not coming at a place of like attack. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Like I get wound up about it a little bit when I hear about it or, hear about it on social media. Like that's the biggest source of where it's coming from is social media. And yeah, so I looked up the definition of toxic masculinity. I'm just going to read it off really quick. So toxic masculinity refers to harmful traditional norms of manhood that pressure men to be tough, dominant, and emotionally stoic, leading to negative outcomes like aggression, violence, misogyny, homophobia, emotional suppression, poor mental health for men themselves, while also damaging relationships and perpetuating inequality. It's not about all masculinity, but the toxic exaggeration of traits like power-seeking, anti-femininity, and extreme toughness seen in behaviors such as bullying, controlling partners, and discouraging vulnerability. So there's one thing that stuck out when I read that, and it was like the extreme toughness part. I don't think that's a toxic trait, to be honest. I think extreme toughness could be toxic in an unhealthy way when you're pushing beyond like into injury. Essentially, is like that's the wrong way of being extremely tough. But I don't think when people probably heard that or hear that, they're like, oh, what, extreme toughness is bad? Like, no, that's not bad. It's just when you take it beyond the limit of what you're supposed to be tough for. Like, for instance, being tough on your kids, being tough on your coworkers or your subordinates. Like, there's a limit to, like, you hold them accountable, but you're not like being tough on them because you feel like being a boss gives you that authority. That sort of thing is what it's talking about. Yeah. I think it's always a fine line between like, okay, what is toxic and what isn't. It's like it's always when you go above and beyond what a healthy masculine person should be, and you start just like degrading others around you because you think that you're higher than thou in your masculinities. We're gonna keep that just in the masculine sense. That like the ego, basically, it's like an ego thing too. Like to me, that's what it mostly is about, is like holding an ego above everybody else. And then you have to talk in such a way where it just keeps your ego inflated. That's what really bugs me, is when I see that on social media where people are like talking shit on other people or talking so highly about themselves for whatever reason. And granted, like I love confidence, love confidence. I love when people are accomplished and they want to talk about their accomplishments, like more power to them. Right. But if they're talking about their accomplishments and they're using it as a comparison of like other, like they're not bringing other people up by it, then like, fuck you. Like that's, to me, that's when I start getting like, okay, dude, fuck you. You're not helping anybody by talking about your accomplishments. Like you're not bringing other people up. You're just putting them down in a way where I know there's a phrase for it, but it's like a backhanded compliment in a way where you're like, you're giving them enough information to try to like lure them in. Like you're selling yourself to the general population, saying you could be like me, you could have all of these things, you just got to be this kind of person, and they're selling themselves as that, and it's totally wrong, right? Like it just brings, it suckers people in. I have an example actually that came to mind. This is what, when I was thinking about it over the week, so I'm gonna go on a monologue. This is gonna be fun. So like years ago, when I was in Seattle, I had this awesome coworker who she wasn't my manager, but she was above me. Like she'd been with the company for a while. She was like our Salesforce guru and just helped train people and stuff like that. She was really awesome. And she saw that I was reading a leadership book, because when we had really slow days, I would bring in books and read them at my desk and take notes and stuff like that. So I figured, I'm like, okay, I'm answering emails and that's all I need to do. And then I'll just be productive by learning these things. And she invited me to meet with her and her husband for like these leadership meetings and books. So like I met with her and her husband for a few weeks, and she would give me these book recommendations. And then they would tell me like, okay, read these chapters. Like it was really cool because she was kind of trying to mentor me. Right. And it got to a point where she's like, okay, so you've gotten like, we're 2 months into this. The next thing to do is you have to come to our friend's house. They're having a meeting there, like a bigger meeting, and listen to this talk. And essentially they wanted me to buy into this MLM scheme, and they were using leadership and leadership fundamentals to bring people in. They're like, oh, we want high quality people. We really want people like to be better versions of themselves. So we're going to promote all of these amazing self-help and leadership books, business books, and then we're going to bring them in, and then they're going to buy into the MLM scheme, and they're going to sell these products. I was like hesitant about going to this meeting. Didn't know what to expect. I did it out of respect for them, because I'm like, okay, they put in a lot of this time to like help me out. So I'm just going to kind of see what this is all about, see what happens. This meeting happened in this dude's basement. There's like 20, 25 people there, because it's all his friends and their friends and so on and so forth. And the guy starts off pretty genuine and talks about the business and talks about how you can grow the business, and then like what the products are selling and stuff like that, like the catalog and all that. And he starts talking about this guy who he tried to bring in, and the guy basically rejected him, and he kept calling him an idiot. He's like, my buddy's so stupid. My buddy's like a moron. He's missing out on this amazing opportunity. He's so stupid. Just started like really dogging him. And then he started talking about like, these books will help you be a better salesman. These books are going to make you want to be a better person so that you can sell more. So he started equaling that if you were a better person, then you'd be a better salesman, that you'd make more money. So that's essentially like, be a better person to make more money. And there was no substance behind that though. Like there was nothing there for, at least in my mind, when I was listening, I was like, this sucks. Like, literally, he's selling a product and he's using leadership and self-help as the platform. It's not actually to make them better. It's to like make them more money, but to make him more money. Because MLM schemes are like that, where you're if you're a bottom feeder, you're not getting anything. It's always the people up top that are getting the profits. So it was a fucking 3-hour meeting, and I left halfway through it, dude. It started at 9 o'clock at night, ended at midnight, and they were still going. They wanted to do like some extra trainings and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm out of here. I am so sick of listening to this guy. I went to my friends during the break and I was like, hey, I really appreciate you guys like inviting me to this, but this is bullshit. And I was like, I don't like this guy at all. I said, he's using the platform to not better people, but to use them as pawns so that way he can get the money. I gave him my whole spiel, and I left, and I called my ex at the time, and I freaked out over the phone. Not to her, like I wasn't freaking out at her. I was just like ranting. I just went on this total rant vent sesh of like, can you believe this shit? They're trying to make people better. Like they're lying to them. Like they're not actually helping them be better. They're just telling them that, oh, if you're a better person, you'll make more money. I'm like, that's not how it goes at all. Like, be a better person to be a better person doesn't mean you're going to make more money. Like that shouldn't be the context, because then people are like, they're going to pretend. And this kind of knocks Mormonism a little bit. It's faith by practice. It's not faith. It's faith by works, right? It's not and in deeds, where like other religions don't preach that, whereas like Mormonism does a little bit, or most of the time. That's what this is all about. Like the work you put in is what is going to bring you the profits and like the revenue, but you have to be like the best person ever. So like, okay, imagine you're being the best person ever. You're not making any money. People are gonna be like, this is bullshit. I don't like this anymore. And they're gonna go back to who they were before. Like nothing actually changes, right? Maybe a select few, right? Like people might realize, oh, this is better for me, and I'm fine with it. But others are gonna be like, no, I don't care. Like if I was the exact same way and I was making money, like more money than I'm now, then I'm gonna go back to being who I was before, right? So that's what went through my mind. And then it's just his example is what pissed me off. Is like, that to me was like the way he was talking about his buddy, the way he was talking about himself, just ego inflated. That's like toxic masculinity to me. In a way of like, look how powerful I am. You could be this powerful. All you got to do is just be a really good person. And I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like it just killed me. So it wasn't actual coaching. My coworker, to her benefit, like, I gave her the benefit of the doubt of like what this coaching thing was, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into from the beginning. And I was like, okay, she had good intentions. Like her and her husband had good intentions from the start, not knocking that at all. The books, like the few that I read, I did get something out of them. So in the end, like I did get better. I just didn't sell anything. I was like, you know what? I want to be better to be better. Like I don't want to be better just to freaking make that money, or the join the MLM scheme, man. And that was twice. There was this first time I wore 2016, I made my own hoodie, and it said fucking limitations, but I put like F and then a bunch of characters just to hide the the swear word. And this guy at a grocery store, he liked it, and he's like, you look like a really ambitious guy. Like come to this meeting. And I was naive as hell. Like this is before the leadership meeting. Come to this meeting. It's going to be at this office. It's going to be a big group to like get together, yada, yada. That was the first time I had a taste of an MLM scheme. And they wanted me to do a $75 background check. They wanted me to like put like $100 into it as well for something else. And then they wanted me to sell. I can't remember what the product was that I needed to sell, but this guy was like, "Oh yeah, it's leadership courses. You could teach leadership, you can coach, you can do all this stuff." Like that's how he's. I'm like, "Oh, this is so cool. I can take off with my coaching career now. I'm at 22 years old. Like I just got out of college. This is exactly what I want to do." And I get there and it's total bunk. It was just. That was what was super frustrating. So then when my friends invited me to the house and I didn't know what to expect, and I saw it was an MLM scheme again, I was like, I'm out. No, there's no way. I'm like, I must have sucker written on my forehead that lets people know that, hey, this guy might be interested in MLM schemes. Let's just try to get him, coerced into this. But it's just frustrating. So like the toxic masculinity portion of it, you see it everywhere, and you'll see it in coworkers, you'll see it in athletes. The hardest part, I think, of coaching it out is like making them realize of like what unhealthy behavior it is. They may not have all of those traits, right? The toxic masculinity part like covered a lot, and they don't have every one of them. So you can identify it down to one singular thing. That's what you like try to coach them, but you also got to coach them in a way of making them think about what's wrong with them. You don't tell them, you make them realize it, right? So like the question is, what would you do if you knew somebody who is toxic in a way, like with a relationship or with work or what have you? What comes to mind of like how you would want to like coach that person, you know?
Yeah.
Because to me, to make them realize what they're doing wrong, you got to ask them the right questions. Like you got to kind of make them come to that conclusion, like their own conclusion about it. Um, how would you handle it? Like you have a little bit more life experience than I do, and you've been around a lot of different personalities. Have you ever had an experience where you've had to talk to somebody about something toxic, or have you just noticed somebody that was toxic and thought about, okay, I don't want to be like that?
I think for me right now, I've noticed it. I don't like, I haven't corrected or tried to coach anybody. Well, I don't blatantly come out and coach, right? I think
Mhm.
the way that I try to coach when it comes to like being toxic and masculine, right, is like I try to lead by example because toxic masculinity to me is essentially like I think there's a part, at least what sticks out to me is like where you view women as less than, right?
Mhm.
Which I'm not cool with. Like I think for me, I think that women deserve every opportunity that we have. I think they deserve to have a voice just like we do. Like they can, and this is a side note, probably has nothing to do with it, but like they create life, right?
Mhm.
Like there is something that they have that we don't. And so it's just like I really dislike when it's like that woman can't do what I can do, or
Mhm.
I hate that. And I think part
Mhm.
of that now is also because I have two daughters, right?
Mhm.
But also like my wife. My wife is broken walls. She's probably more successful than a lot of men her age. You know what I mean? And so it's like, nah, they're just as capable and they deserve the support and the opportunities and the voice and everything that we get, right? So I view it as that. And then I think the biggest thing that I have with it is based on emotions and trying to suppress emotions or stating that like you can only speak in certain emotions, right? So I think for me, how I deal with it, I mean, now being a coach, it'd be different if I had somebody that wanted to talk to me about it, right? I would talk to them and I would give them my opinion and let them make the decision of whether they wanted to work with me or not. But I think the way that I try to do it now is just by leading by example, by exactly
Mhm.
what I was saying, dude.
Mhm.
Like I support women. I
Mhm.
support my wife. I support my girls. Like I even told my sister-in-law, like I truly believe that you guys are equal, right? Because like there's this big thing out right now where, like, is it truly equal because of pay gap and all that kind of stuff? And I believe that that's a part of toxic masculinity. And so it's like, no, like I'm not on that side, and the way that I lead it is just by acknowledging that. Like I'm not afraid to have that conversation. Like I'll
Yeah.
have that conversation with anybody that wants to have it
Yeah.
you know, when I first came to Rise, dude, and we were all men and whatnot and working, and we would sometimes like look over some of the females in the interview process, right? Not meaning to, or it just seemed that way to me. Like at a previous job, I worked with a woman that had done woodworking for like 20 years, dude, and she was amazing. She
Mhm.
taught me shit that like nobody else taught me. Like for me, like just trying to change that is like once I became the foreman and I got to see who we wanted to bring in and stuff, it was like, all right, I want to talk to this person. I want to talk to this person. You know what I mean? Just to give them an opportunity. Let's sit down and talk. And not
Mhm.
only that, like, let's give them the opportunity.
Mhm.
They can do what they're actually saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think I just try to do it by my actions. So, like in that one, it was like, all right, well, now that I'm shop foreman, I have a little bit of control over who we talk to. Like, I'm going to try to push this way to make it more equal and balanced, right?
Yeah.
And like, look at Ricky. Ricky's amazing, dude. She outworks 90% of those men. Like, shit, I'll take her all day,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then like, as far as my coaching, because I do coach, co-ed teams and stuff like that. I'm open with them about being frustrated. I'm open with them about feeling stressed or feeling anxious, being emotional. Like if I'm having an off day, dude, I'll sit them and I'm like, hey, you guys, I'm off today.
Mhm.
I'm having this stuff. Like I try to dumb it down because I'm working with kids typically, but like I'm going through this. We all go through something. So like if you guys are going through something, come talk to me. Let's
Mhm.
work through because you're not alone in trying to get through that, right? And I guess in my way, when I do that, it's like, hey, like your emotions, your feelings, all this kind of stuff is valid
Mhm.
because I was grown up in the household where like you were to suppress it, right? Like you didn't cry, you didn't show
Yeah.
weakness.
Yeah.
And so my whole life I came up and it was like, I can't show anybody that I'm gonna cry. I can't show them that I'm weak. You know,
Yeah.
there were some people that did see that part of me, but it was
Yeah.
very, very few people. And so Marquis the one that really broke that down because I would listen to these podcasts and watch these TikTok clips and all this stuff, and they're like, "Oh, to be a man, you got to be this way. You can't cry. You can't do this." And it's like, really? Like, I mean, I sort of touched on this at the end of the last podcast, but like my wife, like, loves that I have the emotional maturity to be able to show that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me as a man, it's like, how can you speak for a woman when you're a man? Or is that just what you want to see, or is that what they want to see?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's what they want to see because of the women that you typically go after? Like maybe you're going after the wrong type of woman if
Mm-hmm.
that's what they expect from you. Where like I'm comfortable in it now. You know, people have seen me cry, people have seen me anxious, man. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
talk to everybody openly about therapy.
Yeah.
And there's a negative connotation around that too that shouldn't be there. Like,
Yeah. The
you're
stigma
not,
is real. Yeah.
yeah, you're not broken. You're not, there's nothing wrong with you if you're going. It
Yeah.
gives you tips and tricks and tools to help go through life, and it help. And you have these people that have studied, you know, the brain and how it works and all these things in so many different ways that they can help you get through that solution, or they can talk you to where like you figure out the way through the solution or through the problem or whatever, or the instance that you may be going through.
Yeah.
And so I think I just, you know, I want the next generation, like I said, I don't work with too many adults in that way. And, you know, when I'm with adults, I just try to, if they say a certain thing, like I just stand my ground in what I believe in. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I hope. I hope that they see that this 6'5", 280-pound, like large man can be open and comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
They can be open and comfortable with it themselves. You know what I mean? Because like there's no way they're just this hard shell and that's exactly what it is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
bullshit, dude. I know. Nah, you got softness in you somewhere, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it's better if you show that side.
Yeah.
It's better if you let that out instead of suppressing it always.
Yeah.
So I just try to lead by example, like on how I do my conversations and everything with that. And then like with the kids, like I said, man, I just try to really enforce like, hey, it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to have this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
It's okay to, like, one thing I know from my childhood, if you freaked out as a kid, right? Like the coach would be like, who do you think you're talking to? Or your parents would be like, who do you think you're talking to? And sometimes I do think that's acceptable. As a 38-year-old, 37, I'm not 38 yet. As a 37-year-old man, I have some issues sometimes where I freak out and I lose my temper. Does that mean somebody should freaking come down on me and yell at me and scream? Nah, it happens. So why the hell would I do that to a kid who can't control anything?
Right.
They're learning. This may be the first time they ever felt this.
Yeah.
They're learning it. I've already learned it. So I can't yell at them if I can't control it. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, it's okay. You yelled at me. That's all right. What got to you? What's going on? What made you cry? What made you angry? Like, let's talk through it. And I'm like, because I've had, you know, some of my kids cry, you know, like my one quarterback that I've told the story about, like, hey, it's okay that you cried.
Yeah.
Don't hide your face. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I've had like other clients where they may be upset with themselves or they may not like what's said and they get upset. And I'm like, hey, it's okay. Like, you're safe. Like, I'm not judging you based on how you're acting. You don't have to hide it. Like, let it out. Like, this is a safe space for you to be able to feel whatever's going on. And then hopefully they can take that into other portions of their life and be that open with themselves. If they're open with themselves, they're going to be able to be open with other people. So, I mean, that's in an extended freaking pogo stick jumping all over the place way. Like, that's sort of how I approach that whole situation and just toxic masculinity in general, because I know that I suffered from it. And it was like, Brett, I don't like this. Like, how do we change it, right? But that's how we were raised too. We come from a different time frame.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, the all depends on how people are raised. Because if they think it's normal, then it's normal to them until it's not, right? Until somebody calls
Yeah.
them out and like, hey, like that's actually a bad behavior, bad trait, whatever. Like I wasn't raised with that sort of mentality, thank goodness. Like my dad, he was strict. Like when I was younger, he was like really strict, but and disciplined. I think I only saw my dad cry twice growing up. And uh other than that, like he just handled his business and stayed quiet. And we would talk about things. Not we weren't like very emotional with each other. Like we didn't talk about emotions or that anything like that too much. It was more so like just being better. Like how can you be how can I be a better swimmer? How could I be a better student? How could I be a
Yeah.
better person? Like we went to church and that kind of took over the say like the emotional side of things of like it's okay to be emotional and it's just the spirit talking to you and stuff like that. Like that's kind of where we delved into it. But I've always been an emotional person. Like as a kid, definitely sensitive. And I think my dad, I'm reflecting on it now. Like, I think my dad and I didn't have those kind of conversations because he wanted me to toughen up a little bit. I'm not saying this in a bad way. Like he wanted me to toughen up because he knew that like life's gonna suck. Like I'm gonna get my feelings hurt. And discernment. He wanted me to discern what was appropriate to have my feelings hurt or not have my feelings hurt, right? And but he
Yeah.
would, and that's where he would be like stone cold with me, not showing emotions other than like happiness and laughter. Like he was doing that, but when it came to just when shit sucked, like I felt like okay, it's either I make a decision now to be emotional or not, and then if I'm going to be emotional about it, like what am I going to do to like decompress basically? Like how am I'm going to cry, and then what's next? Okay, am I going to go out and like, should I write a letter? Like should I to myself basically? Like should I write it down? Should I am I going to go play games? Am I going to go play basketball? Like how am I going to use this frustration or the sadness or whatever in a productive way? Like that was the biggest thing I think growing up was like how can we turn any type of feeling into production, whether that be exercise, or yeah, writing, whatever it was. I wrote a lot. I did a lot of journals, and I would just write stuff down, just to get it out, just to flush it out. And I think that helped a lot. But like over time, though, my dad like started opening up more, and him and I started having more like deep conversations, and it became really nice. And I think like my dad softened up a bit. Again, he didn't have toxic traits, but he was just a stone cold kind of guy. Like he just didn't show much emotion when I grew up until probably like when I was in college. It was when he finally kind of started. Him and I started talking more about our emotions and um started talking like about like mental toughness more and resilience in a different way though. His resilience was coming from support. Like, he's like I got to support my family. I do whatever it takes. And he was I wouldn't say he was in an like unstable place, but the company he used to work for went out of business and he's like, fuck, what do I do now? And he had to hold it together though. He couldn't show my mom, me, my sister that shit was hitting the fan in his head. And I think if he were to talk about it with us, we would have understood. But knowing my dad, he didn't want us to be scared or worried about anything. Like he wanted to be the man of the household, right? And that's where I think my dad did a really good job of balancing like manhood and then also not teaching me like the wrong way, like how, like not teaching me the like toxic side of manhood. And like him and our conversations were just mostly revolved around me and my my development, not him and what he was going through, right? Like he didn't pull me aside and say this is what you should be doing because of what he was going through. He would just ask me like, where are you at now, right? He wanted to be like a helpful father and no, like I at the time I'd be like, you wouldn't understand, right? Every kid's gonna say that to their parents. I said to my parents, you don't understand, like it's different now compared to what it used to be. I think that really helped frame like the coaching mindset that I have and like getting along with people. I feel like I naturally get along with people, but I know that if I had an ego or any sort of toxic trait, either he would have called it out on me and or my mom, my mom especially would definitely call like a toxic trait out and be like, you can't be like this. Like you shouldn't be like that person. Right. I think they would have definitely been good parents and coached it out of me. So I'm thankful I'm not like that. I'm thankful I haven't had those conversations. But that's why it bugs me so much though, is that you're doing the world a disservice by being a person who isn't helping other people. Like you think you're better than everybody else just because you have some things. Like you think that you're gifted in a skill or you had an amazing athletic ability, and because of that, like everybody should fucking kiss your feet.
Yeah.
No, like I hate that stuff. Like and especially towards if it's towards how you feel towards women or just other people in general, and you want everybody to bow down to you and that you're just the favorite person in the whole world, like get fucked. Like I just I shouldn't say that as a coach, but at the same time, I just like it. Just it's annoying.
No,
Uh,
you're being real, man. Like
yeah,
and
it's
I
yeah.
like that part about you, dude. Like I like because you are easy to talk to. I think me and you hit it right off when we started working together.
We did,
Like
yeah.
we were just you were easy to talk to, man. And so I do think that you do have that route, and like it sounds like you had a really good support system from both sides of your family coming up. So I
Mhm,
think that's why you're so well rounded, right? It wasn't like your dad played this huge part and your mom played this small part. Like they played like this equal part that I think really just worked for you. Cause
mhm,
dude, I think you're a great human being. And like for me growing up, right? Like I live with my mom, I live with my dad, I live with my grandparents, and I don't think that any of them did anything wrong in context, right? Like, I think they
mhm,
did what they knew to do
mhm,
or what they thought was best or
mhm.
what they
Yeah,
thought you needed to learn, right?
yeah. If they didn't know any better at the time, then yeah.
Yeah, because, like, I know for me, this is one of my vulnerable sides, right? Like, for me, I wasn't ever really taught how to deal with all of my emotions. And what I had seen based on like lived experience as a child, right? Like, I had seen that when you handle anything, it was through anger.
Mhm,
Like, I think I probably saw more as a child than I did anything else. So I thought that's how I should handle things. And just with a lot of the things that I went through, anger was what I went with. And so I remember, like, looking at it now, I wish I would have known other routes to deal with it or like let myself be sad, right?
mhm,
Instead of turning that sadness into anger, let myself be sad. Cause I remember, dude, for much of my youth, when I would get angry and mad because I didn't know how to deal with what was going on, like I would punch brick walls until like my hands would literally be like scraped and bleeding. And like I think that was like my form of self-harm, right? Like I
mhm.
was never gonna like cut or anything like that. That was my way of like punishing myself for
Pain,
whatever I
yeah.
was going
Like
through.
pain is sort of a release as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I think that's partially, toxic because like if I would have been taught another route, maybe I didn't have to go through that physical pain to feel something, right? Like I could have felt something because I allowed myself to cry or I
Mhm,
allowed myself to talk because I felt comfortable to talk. When you don't feel comfortable to talk and you don't know these other routes that are available to you or you're not
mhm,
educated on your feelings or told that your feelings are valid, right?
mhm.
Like you let it out in the way that you've seen or in the way that you think's correct. And that's
Yeah,
what I did. And
yeah.
looking back, like it is what it is. I can't change it now, but like I have girls. I don't think they're gonna punch brick walls, but they could because they're crazy. But it's like it
Yeah.
won't let them get to that point. Like they are aware of their emotions, like and like I was talking to my therapist, and she was like, we were talking about parts and trying to identify,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
part of that is like this part is like your exile part, right? Like this part is your envious part. How many people can sit down and be like, I know all these different parts about me, which are like emotions and everything, right? And it's like she told me about this book. It's written by Brene Brown. It's like the Atlas of Heart or something like that. And it talks about this, like it identifies like a shit ton. And it's like, I may have to read this because like I want my kids to be able to identify like what they're going through so that they can clearly let it out and be able to explain it so they don't fall into this like I need to be silent, I need to be angry, I need to be physical or whatever. Like they have a plethora of road of paths that they can take. It's just like, all right, so what's the best one for this feeling that you're feeling right now? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I think that's how I try to combat it is just by educating myself and trying to pass it through to
Yeah.
my kids and whoever else I can if they are interested.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's really cool. That's really awesome that your therapist recommended that book too. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
here, hold on. I want to give the right name. People are out here like, what? Like, my
yeah.
bad, man.
Yeah. That's just, I guess that sums up everything though. It's like the frustration around just being like a toxic person. on how unhealthy it is. And I can't stand being around those kind of people.
All right, here it is. Atlas of the Heart.
Nice. Well, you got it right then. You
Yeah,
said it
I
right.
was pretty close.
Yeah, yeah, nice. You wouldn't have steered people that way, or that far, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all I felt. Getting it off on my chest now.
I'm
It's
glad, man.
It's just frustrating seeing all that out there, because I guess too, like as a coach, like you want to help the people that they're talking to as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, how do I project myself in a way that's not coming across as like demeaning? Like, and I'm not saying that those words would come to mind, but you want to when you hit the general audience, you want to make sure that you're talking about yourself. Like from my experience, like I'm going to bring up my experience and what I've gone through and how I've lived my life. And like, yeah, I've had a lot of cool experiences, and I've had a lot of not cool, like so cool experiences. It's like, I guess it'd be easier for me to project myself and make sure people understand like where I'm coming from. But it's just like, oh yeah, why don't we shoot through the screen and just punch somebody when they're talking shit and just being a bad example? Slap them. I shouldn't say punch them. Slap them.
No,
Good. Shut up.
I get what you're saying, because like you're trying to portray yourself to your clients or the people that are close to you in a way to where like what you're saying makes sense and is a tool in a positive way, that they like they see the value in that and they're like, hey, I learned this from this guy. Like you guys should look into it, or like you guys should research this. You know what I mean? Like I get what you're saying with that.
There's actually I'll send it to you after this. My buddy sent me a podcast, Defining Healthy Masculinity and How to Build It, by Terry Real. I'll send you the link too. But
Okay.
yeah, there are plenty of resources out there too, like to check out for people who are like kind of wondering, okay, am I that kind of guy? And if you're asking yourself, am I that kind of guy? It's a great question to start off with, because then you can start kind of hitting those check boxes of, am I emotionally vulnerable or not? Or, how do I talk or treat women? How do I treat others?
Yeah.
How do I treat myself? Do I have an ego? The ego thing is what I think bothers me the most. It's just because it's so insecure and fragile to have an ego that's so inflated that you have to put others down or like have them feel like they're beneath you, so that you protect your ego in that way, right? That's just a deep insecurity you have about how others will perceive you. And that's where I want to like break down those walls of like, dude, nobody's gonna care. Like you can be vulnerable and nobody's gonna judge you and like or look at you any different, right? Like, and if they do, then fuck them. Like that's on them. Like if people
that's
are
a reflection of themselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't need to have this inflated ego or whatever the case is to hide whatever you want to hide. And yeah, people are like, well, this is how I was taught. Like, this is all I know. Great. Well, now you know better. So let's do better, right? Like this just changes things. So,
no, I agree. And I think like the biggest problem is honestly the way men talk to men with toxic masculinity. I think it's worse that way than it is any other way. So you are in a conversation and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't align with your core values. Like, don't let them push that onto you. Like, stand your ground, but do it in a respectful way and just be like, this is what I feel. I own this, and this is why I feel this way. Like, if they want to have a conversation, or if not, just sit there quiet, nod your head, because
exactly,
confrontation and everything isn't for everybody. And you don't have to make sure. You don't have to have that conversation, that hard conversation with every single person.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable doing it, cool. Yeah. If you're not, that's okay too.
It's usually if they initiate the conversation, they want, like if they're the toxic person or they have some sort of whatever case that you're not getting along with or agreeing with, and they initiate the questions towards you, then yeah, like have that debate and like, again, stand your ground like you were saying. If they're not interested in listening or learning about your side at all, just nod your head and agree. Like just whatever the fastest way possible to get through the conversation is, do that and get the hell out of there. That's what I do. Like once I've met a lot of older guys that had that sort of like ego check, like they just were inflated and all of that, and they didn't have any time to like listen to me or listen to anybody else. They were just stuck in their ways. So be it. So now I just nod my okay, cool, yeah, right on, cool. Like just carry the conversation that way. Didn't say shit. Let them just go on their rant, and then after that, walk out. Leave them alone at the bar, wherever I was at, and say, okay, that was a great like moment just to kind of learn about how that individual thinks. And there's plenty of others out there. Then you got the complete polar opposite, like the gentleman that I met last night, where he didn't have an ego. He didn't have any sort of toxicness. There was, how am I going to try to describe this? He was just like confident about his decisions and where he was going, and that's what kind of what he gave that perception, like his body language is how I read it, and what he was talking about. But that can be a toxic way in itself, like harmful towards you and what you're doing with your future, right? Like what your decisions. So there's given like or there is a two sides to it. That, we can talk about that on the next podcast too, like later down the road of the self-sabotaging toxicness. You know what I mean? Like self-sabotaging is a real thing. I do it too.
Too.
Yeah, like that could be a toxic trait in itself in a different way, where you have no ego, but you have no confidence. And that's that could be another fun conversation to have.
Dude, I'm just really glad you got to get this off your chest. You've been wanting to talk about this, and now it's out there.
Well, yeah, it's just like,
you feel better now?
Yeah.
There we go.
It's like it's not my objective to cancel it. Like I know it's gonna always exist. Like it's one of those things you just gotta live with. I think it's just good to talk about so that people can realize like if they are that kind of person or not, and they start asking themselves those questions of, okay, well, what do I need to do to eliminate the toxic trait or whatever it is. That's all it is. It's just that's where I want to go with it. And I'm not going to be calling people out willy-nilly about it. It's just like, if that's who you are, great. And if you want to change anything, then hit us up. But if if it doesn't like strike to you in your heart about whatever case it is, then fine, so be it. You don't have to, nobody's coming after you for it. And at the end of the day, like it's gonna be okay.
Maybe.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I am that person where if it's
it
too
depends,
much,
it depends
I
on
will
the
call it,
situation.
even if I don't know you. I will. I mean, if my wife doesn't get in the way, she has stopped me a couple of times, and I'm like, "Man, come on! Like they need it.
Let me at him.
She's like, "No, this isn't the place." Then how am I gonna do it? How are they gonna know? Well,
right on, brother.
I think that was good, man. I mean, closing notes or just goodbye. Buddy, kill it this week. Be the best version of yourself.
See you guys. Yeah, listen to Brett and exactly do that. Yes, that's great.
All right, see you guys.
See you later.